The Heightened Mind, 1. Dhamma Talks. Ajaan Lee Dhammadharo. Introduction. The Buddha's path consists of 3 trainings: training in heightened virtue, in heightened mind, or concentration, and in heightened discernment. Although all 3 are essential for awakening, the Buddha often singled out the second training for special attention. Ajaan Lee does the same in the talks translated here. As he once said, the 3 trainings are like posts supporting a bridge over a river. The posts on the near shore and far virtue and discernment are not that hard to set in place, for they lie in shallow water away from the main current of the river. The posts in the middle of the river concentration are the ones requiring special effort, and so they need to be treated in depth. In previous collections of Ajaan Lee's talks, the main focus has been on technique. Here the focus is more on attitudes to bring to the practice of concentration. In some cases, Ajaan Lee shows the importance of concentration by exploring its role in the path of practice as a whole. In others he admonishes his listeners while they are meditating not to wander astray, or encourages them to stay the course. The admonitions and encouragement are especially notable for the inventive stories with which Ajaan Lee reinforces his points. Many of the passages translated here had their beginnings in talks that Ajaan Lee gave to groups of people while they were meditating. In some cases, the people were his followers; in others, total strangers. Ajaan Lee thus found it necessary to cover all levels of practice at once. His main topic is often the most basic question that occurs to people new to meditation: why meditate? But he also includes brief hints to more experienced meditators, as food for their own contemplation. One aspect of Ajaan Lee's teachings that might strike you as foreign is his analysis of the body into 4 properties: earth, fire, water, and wind. This mode of analysis dates back to the time of the Buddha, although Ajaan Lee develops it in a distinctive way. Think of this analysis not as an attempt at biology or chemistry, the sciences we use to analyze the body from the outside, but as a way of analyzing how the body feels from the inside. This is an aspect of awareness that we often overlook and that, in English at least, we have a poor vocabulary for describing. As you gain through meditation a greater familiarity with this aspect of your awareness, you'll come to see how useful Ajaan Lee's method of analysis is. 2 of the talks in this collection, Dhamma for Everyone and The Power of Goodness, were translated from transcripts of taped recordings of Ajaan Lee's talks. The remaining passages have taken a more circuitous route from Ajaan Lee's mouth to your eyes. One of his followers, a nun, Makai Arun Abhivan, took notes during his talks, from which she later worked up reconstructed versions of what Ajaan Lee had said. Ajaan Lee had a chance to review and revise the reconstructions of the talks dated prior to 1957. As for the talks given on later dates, Makai Arun didn't make reconstructions until after Ajaan Lee's death in 1961, and so these were printed without his input. Although the talks make for great reading, they make for even better listening. If you meditate with a group of friends, try arranging for one member of the group to read a passage while the others are meditating. In that way, you can best recreate the context for which the talks were originally intended. Thanissaro Bhikkhu. Jeffrey Degrove. Metta Forest Monastery. February, 2008. Beyond Death. Undated. Every human being falls under the same conditions. In the beginning we're born, then in the middle we change, and in the end we fall apart and die. Death is something no one aspires to, and yet no one can escape it. We all have death at the end of our path. Thinking about death gives rise both to benefits and to harm. For short-sighted people it's harmful, because it makes them so depressed and discouraged that they don't want to do any good in the world. In other words, all they see is the part that dies. They don't see the part that doesn't. Actually, there are 2 parts to every person, the part that can die and the part that doesn't die. For example, the nature of the body is to keep changing until it falls apart. You can say that it dies, and you can say that it doesn't. The word dies applies to the fact that the person disappears from his or her friends and relatives. But the elements of the body simply go back to their original form. The earth returns to being earth, the water to water, the fire to fire, and wind to wind. It's like a cube of ice. If you keep the ice long enough, it'll return to its original condition of being water. So you can say that the body dies, and you can say that it doesn't die, simply that it doesn't maintain the same form it had. According to the conventions of the world, this is called death, but wise people don't see death as anything strange or out of the ordinary. The only question is whether death is accompanied by merit or not. This brings us to the mind that used to stay with the body. This is the important part because it doesn't die. It simply changes in line with the way good and evil arrange things for it. In other words, they arrange the level of the mind, the place where it takes rebirth. If you do good, you'll have to go to a good destination. If you do evil, you'll have to go to a bad destination. If you develop goodness to the ultimate degree so that you can let go of good and evil, the mind will become changeless, or what's called deathless. But most of us can't conceive of the truth. We tend to overlook it, so that we never reach the deathless. This is because of our own stupidity and lack of discernment. Our ignorance hides the truth from us. The nature of the mind is very subtle. You can't see it with your eyes. Some people say it doesn't exist, which is why people who don't consider things carefully say that death is followed by annihilation. We can make a comparison with the fire element in the air. The mind is like the fire element. The body is like a lit candle. When the candle runs out of its wax and wick, the fire has to go out. But when the fire goes out, that doesn't mean that no fire is left in the world. We're able to light another candle because of the fire element still there throughout the air. That's the way it is with us. When the body falls apart, the mind gives rise to a new level of being for itself as long as it still has the fuel of ignorance, craving, and clinging. This is why the Buddha taught his disciples not to be heedless, to develop as much merit and skillfulness as possible. For merit and skillfulness are what bring happiness both in this world and in the next. This is in line with the sayings. Sukho Panasakayo, the accumulation of merit brings well-being. Puasuka Javitasaksami, merit brings well-being at the end of life. And Puni Paralokasmi Patihantina, merit is what establishes living beings in the next life. The word merit here means the happiness or well-being that results from doing good. The good we can do comes in many forms, but in short there are two kinds. 1. The merit that acts as a cause, i.e., the good we have to do. And, 2. The merit that acts as a result, i.e., the happiness coming from our goodness. The merit that acts as a cause comes in three types: Dhamma, the merit of being generous; Slamaya, the merit of observing the precepts; and Bhaivanmaya, the merit of meditating. In the Abhidhamma these three types are divided into 10 meritorious activities. Generosity is expanded to include Padadnamaya, the merit of dedicating merit to others, and Patnamadhanmaya, the merit of appreciating other people's merit. These three go together in that they all counteract jealousy and stinginess. The merit of observing the precepts is expanded to include Apasayanamaya, the merit of showing respect to people worthy of respect, such as our elders and those to whom we should be grateful. Vaivakamaya, the merit that comes in helping others in skillful activities, sharing your strength, wealth, and intelligence. These three all go together in that they're related to interpersonal virtue. As for the merit of meditation, that's expanded to include Dhammasavanamaya, the merit of listening to the Dhamma. Dhammadassamaya, the merit of teaching the Dhamma. And Dhyajakama, making one's views straight. All four of these go together in that they are all sources of discernment. These forms of merit can arise only when they are rooted in mental states free of greed, aversion, and delusion. As the Pali says, Alobho dinahichu, lack of greed is the basis for generosity. Adososlahichu, lack of aversion is the basis for virtue, and Amoho bhaitvanhichu, lack of delusion is the basis for developing the mind in meditation. The merit you do gives you ease in body and mind. Whenever you think of the good you've done, it will always make you happy. It's a noble treasure that follows you, just as your shadow follows you at all times. Even when you die, the merit you've done will follow you and arrange a good place for you to be reborn. This is called Pubbasakra, merit as a fabricating factor. When people are about to die, they are like travelers getting ready to go abroad. Before they go, they have to prepare themselves. Only then will the trip be comfortable. For example, they have to put money in the bank, exchanging their Thai currency for foreign currency so they can use it when they're abroad. If they simply take their Thai money along with them, they won't be able to use it to buy anything. In the same way, when people leave this world at death, they can't take along their wealth or possessions to use in the next world. Instead, while they're still alive here, they have to deposit their money in the bank for Buddhists and exchange it for noble treasures, or inner wealth. What this means is that they make donations, for example, in homage to the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. That way they'll be able to use their wealth in the next world. If they have only counterfeit money, i.e., if they've done nothing but evil and unskillful things, they won't be able to go to anywhere comfortable or prosperous. Because they lack the funds needed to take themselves there. They won't be able to return to the human world because they lack the funds, the human values needed to take themselves there. So they'll have to turn into hungry ghosts, wandering around, losing their way, haunting people and possessing them, suffering all kinds of hardships. For this reason, being generous is like depositing your money in a bank so that you'll be able to use it when you go abroad. That's the first step. The second step is to get a passport as proof of your nationality. What this means is that you establish yourself in the virtues of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha, observing the precepts to get rid of the gross defilements in your words and deeds. As proof of your status as a member of the Buddha's following. The third step is to learn foreign languages. In other words, you have to practice tranquility meditation and insight meditation so as to get rid of the intermediate and refined defilements, the hindrances in the heart. Straightening out the heart so that you can give rise to three forms of knowledge. Pubbanivas nusatiye with makrane, the ability to remember previous lifetimes. Kutpuptaye with makrane, knowledge of the death and rebirth of living beings, seeing why they are born on low levels or high, with pain or pleasure. And Savakhaye with makrane, the knowledge enabling you to rid the heart of its fermentations. These three forms of knowledge count as the foreign languages you'll need for your journey. Your trip will be easy and fun, dazzling bright, with plenty of treasures along the way. You'll see sights you've never seen before, such as the heavens and Brahm worlds. This is what it means to be well gone. Even as you stay here, you'll stay well. If you want to come back, you'll be able to. If you don't, you can continue your studies and go all the way to Nibbana, released from having to swim around in the cycle of death and rebirth. You'll reach security, joyful and free from danger of every sort. The practice of generosity, virtue, and meditation thus results in three types of treasure: the treasure of the human state, the treasure of the heavenly state, and the treasure of Nibbana in line with your abilities to do the practice. People who are complete in all three of these forms of skillfulness are said to go well, come well, and stay well. Because their thoughts, words, and deeds have been trained well. Wherever they go they are free from animosity and danger, for they are loved and respected by all beings, human and divine. So we should each look at our condition, realizing that we're on a journey leading day by day, minute by minute, to death. There's no escaping this. For this reason, we should develop the three forms of skillfulness and merit: generosity, virtue, and meditation, so that the happiness and security resulting from goodness will arise for us, taking us beyond death, in line with our abilities. The essence of merit. July 23, 1957. Merit is the intention that arises in the heart beginning with the first thought to do something good. For example, today you decided that you wanted to come to the monastery. That thought, in and of itself, was merit arising in the mind. Then you came to the monastery, received the precepts, and listened to a sermon in line with your original intention. In this way, Your original intention succeeded in producing more merit in line with its aims. But if you think that you want to go to the monastery, to receive the precepts and listen to the Dhamma, but someone else happens to object or criticizes you in a way that spoils your mood, the merit in your mind, the original intention, disappears. Even if someone else then invites you to come to the monastery, you come here against your will and sit here like a stump, with no merit arising in your mind. This is because the essence of merit in your mind has already died. The meritorious things that you do aren't the essence of merit. For example, giving donations, observing the precepts, listening to sermons, or sitting in meditation aren't the essence of merit. Still, we have to keep doing these things so that our old merit can grow fat and healthy instead of dying away. For this reason, when you make up your mind to do something good, hurry up and do it right away. When want to give a donation, go ahead and give a donation. When you want to observe the precepts, observe the precepts. When you want to listen to the Dhamma, listen to the Dhamma. When you want to meditate, meditate. In this way, the results of your actions will grow full and complete in all 3 time periods. In other words, your mind will feel happy, joyful, and satisfied in your merit when you first think of doing it, while you're doing it, and when you're done. The intention to do good, the first stage in your goodness, is the essence of merit. It's like planting a tree. When you give a donation, it's like putting fertilizer around the tree. When you observe the precepts, it's like picking away the worms and caterpillars that will eat the flowers or leaves. As for meditating, that's like watering the tree with clean, clear, cool water. In this way, your tree is sure to keep growing until it produces leaves and fruit that you can eat for your enjoyment in line with your original aim. If it's a flowering tree, the flowers will be bright and colorful, with large petals and a refreshing scent. If it's a fruit tree, the fruits will be plentiful, large, and sweet. This is how generosity, virtue, and meditation are means of developing the merit of your original thought. But if your heart is in a sour mood, then you won't get much fruit from making merit or giving donations. It's like giving fertilizer to a tree that's already died. Even if all you want is a single custard apple from the tree, you won't be able to get what you want. Because the fertilizer you gave to the tree has all gone to nourish the grasses and herbs growing at the foot of the tree, and hasn't done a thing for the custard apple you wanted. In the same way, if you just go through the motions of making merit, your original aim to abandon greed, aversion, and delusion won't bear fruit. The act of generosity is simply the fertilizer of merit. When the essence of merit has died, there's no way that you can eat the fertilizer, for it's nothing but filth, cow dung, and chicken droppings. How can you ask for filthy stuff like that to come and help you in any way? But still, you're better off than people who haven't fertilized anything at all, i.e., who haven't developed virtue, concentration, or discernment, for at the very least you can gather the grasses and herbs that have fed on your fertilizer, to boil in a soup or fix as a salad. So whenever you do anything, you have to check to see whether the essence of merit is in your heart. Some people make merit when their hearts are evil. They're like a sticky rice sweet roasted in bamboo, where the rice on the top is soft and well cooked, but the rice at the bottom is raw or burned to a crisp. When this is the case, there's no way you can eat it, for it's not good all the way through. People by and large act in ways that aren't in line with their minds. Some people make donations but their hearts are still greedy, as when they give a gift because they want to become millionaires. Some people give $1 expecting to get 10,000 or 100,000 in return. Some people observe the precepts but their hearts are still angry, jealous, or hateful toward this person or that. Some people meditate so that they can be beautiful and shapely in their next birth, or because they want to become devas up in heaven. Other people want to be this or that, always looking for something in exchange. This kind of merit is still wide of the mark. The Buddha taught us to be generous for the sake of doing away with greed, to observe the precepts to do away with anger, and to meditate to do away with delusion, not for the sake of feeding these defilements. Some people come here to meditate and sit here absolutely still, their eyes are closed, their posture straight and unmoving. Everything on the outside just the way it should be, but their minds are running around all over the place, to their orchards, their fields. Some people's minds go zooming abroad in search of their children or friends, thinking about all kinds of things. Their minds aren't sitting together with their bodies. This is called a mind and a body not in line with each other, like a sticky rice sweet where the top is cooked but the bottom is still raw. If you're careful to keep the essence of merit with your heart, then go ahead and do whatever goodness you want. Don't come to the monastery behind the corpse of your merit. In other words, if you originally want to come to the monastery but someone else yells at you so that you come here in a foul mood against your will, this kind of merit making doesn't help you much at all. The reason we need to train our minds to be solid and strong in the Dhamma is because we're sure to face the three dangers of the world. 1. Suffering, illness, and poverty. 2. Death. And 3. Enemies and foolish friends. We have to prepare ourselves so that when any of these things come our way, our hearts will be strong enough to contend with them bravely and without fear. No matter what side they may attack from, we have a strategy to fight them off in every way. This is why the daily blessing says, Ikata pathita tum hakipamiva samihihadu, which means, whatever you want and desire, may it succeed quickly. In other words, when the mind is strong and powerful, whatever you think of doing is bound to succeed. If you let your original thoughts of merit die or disappear from the mind before you come to give a donation, observe the precepts, or meditate, the results of the original intention won't develop. But at least you're better off than people who don't come at all. The original thought of merit is like a tree. If your tree doesn't die, then the more you fertilize it, the bigger it'll grow and the more it'll branch out. In other words, your actions will be lovely and quiet. Whatever your hands do will be merit. Wherever your feet step will be merit. Whatever your mouth says will be merit. Whatever your mind thinks will be merit. Your whole body will be merit. When this is the case, you'll meet with nothing but happiness. Virtue, in terms of its wording, consists of undertaking the 5, 8, 10, or 227 precepts. In terms of its meaning, it consists of thinking, speaking, and acting in ways that harm no one. When you think, you do it with a mind of goodwill. When you speak, you do it with a mind of goodwill. When you act, you do it with a mind of goodwill. In terms of its flavor, virtue is coolness. For this reason, the act of undertaking the precepts isn't the essence of virtue. It's simply a way of fertilizing virtue, our original intention, so that it'll grow fat and strong. The Pali word for virtusla comes from sil, or rock, so when you develop virtue you have to make your heart large like an enormous rock. What's a rock like? It's solid, stable, and cool. Even though the sun may burn it all day or rain may lash at it all night, it doesn't tremble or shake. In addition, it keeps its coolness inside. What kind of coolness is that? The coolness of bravery, quick reflexes, and circumspection. This kind of coolness is virtue, not the kind of coolness of a person who's slow and lackadaisical. If you're cool, you have to be cool from the virtue within you. Having virtue within you is like having a pool of water in your house. When your house has a pool of water, how can fire burn it down? When you have this kind of coolness looking after your heart, how can anger, hatred, or ill will overcome it? In addition, this cool rock of virtue holds fire within it, but not the fire of defilement. It's a cool fire that you can put to all kinds of good uses. When you strike one rock against another, the spark can light a fire that you can use to cook your food or light your house. These are some of the benefits of virtue. When you practice concentration but your mind isn't firmly established in genuine merit, Mra will come after you with a big grin on his face. What this means is the Mras of the aggregates, there will be feelings of pain throughout your body. Your perceptions will be a turmoil, your thought fabrications will think of 108,000 different things, and your consciousness will be aware of things all over the place. When this happens, your heart will be crushed and your merit snuffed out. Like a sticky rice sweet that's not cooked all the way through, if you eat it, you'll get indigestion. When practicing concentration, you have to be careful not to force or squeeze the mind too much. But at the same time you can't let it run too loose. Force it when you have to, let it go when you have to. The important point is to keep directed thought and evaluation in charge at all times. In this way, the mind gains quality, it won't play truant or go straying off the path of goodness. The nature of goodness is that there are bound to be bad things sneaking in the same way that when there are rich people there are bound to be thieves lying in wait to rob them. When you make merit, Mra in his different forms is sure to get in the way. So when you meditate, be careful not to fall into wrong mindfulness or wrong concentration. Wrong mindfulness is when your awareness leaves the four frames of reference: body, feelings, mind, and mental qualities. Here, the body means the breath, feelings are sensations of comfort or discomfort, the mind is the awareness of the body, and the mental quality we want is the quality of the present. Wrong concentration is when you're forgetful or unaware, as when you're unaware of how the body is sitting. Where the mind is wandering off to, how it comes back. The mind lacks both mindfulness and alertness. But when your concentration gets established, the mind will grow higher. And when the mind is up high, nothing can reach up to destroy its goodness. Like the stars, the moon, or the sun that shine in the sky, even though clouds may pass in front of them from time to time. The clouds can't sneak up or seep up to make the brightness of the stars, moon, or sun grow murky or dark. Merit is a noble treasure. It's the source of all our inner wealth. When it arises in the mind, don't let anyone else touch it. When you have a source of wealth like this, it's like having a raw diamond. Which is 100 times better than having your wealth in property, cattle, or workers, for those things lie far away and are hard to look after. If you have a raw diamond, all you have to do is wrap it in cotton and it'll keep on growing. Just make sure that you don't cut or polish it. If you turn it into a cut diamond, then even if you keep it for 100 years it won't grow any further. In the same way, when concentration arises in the mind, you have to look after it. Don't let any labels or concepts touch it at all. That way your concentration will develop step by step. Your mind will grow higher and higher. Happiness and coolness will come flowing your way. Everything you aspire to will succeed, and eventually you'll attain the paths and fruitions leading to Nibbana. The Power of Goodwill. October 21, 1958. The rewards of goodwill are: 1. It purifies the virtues of the person who develops it. And 2. It brings the mind to right concentration. This is why it's included in the classical 40 topics of concentration. Our Lord Buddha, from the time before he gained awakening until he entered total Nibbana, practiced goodwill in his deeds, goodwill in his words, and goodwill in his thoughts at all times. The fact that we human beings have lived in peace through the virtues of the Triple Gem up to the present day is because of the power of the Buddha's great goodwill and compassion. For this reason, we too should develop goodwill for all beings in line with his example. The power of goodwill can bring peace and security to the world in countless ways. There's a brief story from the time of the Buddha that illustrates this point. Once a king was returning home with his troops after having engaged in a battle. On the way, they stopped off in a cool, quiet forest to rest and to find water to drink and to bathe in. And there in the forest they happened to come across a group of around 500 monks practicing goodwill concentration. The monks' quiet manner, they weren't even making a sound, astonished the king. He said to himself, even in a single household of 2 or 3 people there are bound to be quarrels and commotion. But here these contemplatives are living together by the hundreds without any commotion at all. If our country could be at peace like this, there probably wouldn't need to be any battles or war. Impressed, he went to the head monk, bowed down, and asked to be taught their contemplative practice. After listening to the head monk's advice, he sent his troops back to his capital while he stayed there in the forest. Practicing goodwill meditation for 12 years to the point where he had mastered the jhanas. Only then did he return to his capital. Immediately on his return, he made a practice of spreading thoughts of goodwill in every direction throughout his kingdom and to the neighboring kingdoms as well. His people came thronging around him, happy, joyful, and filled with respect for him. When he conversed with them to learn of their hardships and joys, he taught them to develop goodwill, compassion, empathetic joy, and equanimity for one another. Captivated by his words, his people listened to him with trust and respect, and followed his instructions. From that point on, love and kindness spread through every home and village, giving rise to a sense of friendship, fellowship, and cooperation that spread throughout the kingdom. There were no more wars with neighboring kingdoms, and the people lived in happiness and peace. This story shows what the power of goodness in a single person's heart can accomplish. It brings security and well-being to people throughout an entire nation. This is why the Buddha teaches us to develop inner goodness by meditating on goodwill. But you have to be earnest in really doing it if you want to get real results. Even if it's only for a short time, the wiggle of an elephant's ears or the flicker of a snake's tongue, it can give rise to amazing power. Like the power of an elephant or a snake in being able to kill off people or other animals in the twinkling of an eye. But if you're not truly earnest in what you do, the power of truth won't appear in the mind, and you won't be able to use it to get any results like the ear of a dog or a cat. It can wiggle all day long and yet it won't cause anyone any fear. With an elephant, though, all it has to do is wiggle his ears just once, and people trip all over themselves trying to run away so fast that their legs practically fall off. Or a cobra, all it has to do is wiggle its tongue once, and people fall over in a faint. The power of the mind's true earnestness has the same sort of potency. The worldly crown of a king, embellished with all the 9 auspicious gems, even though it's dazzling and priceless, is still no match for a meditator's Dhamma crown embellished with the Buddha gem, the Dhamma gem, and the Sangha gem. If we let evil come flowing into the heart, goodness will have no chance to come in and take charge. Evil will seize power and take control, while goodness will have to go running out to stand shivering outside the walls. Coming Ashore. June 28, 1959. The Dhamma is something that cleanses the mind so that it's bright, clean, and happy. People differ in their temperaments, some are crude, others intermediate, and others refined. This is why the Buddha elaborated on the Dhamma in various ways in line with the character of his listeners. In other words, he took short things and explained them until they were long. For example, sometimes he'd explain the rewards of generosity, sometimes the rewards of virtue, and sometimes the rewards of polishing the heart, what's called meditation. But his real aim was to teach people to make their minds pure. Everything else was just elaboration. Each of us human beings is like a person sitting in a boat in the middle of an ocean filled with wind, waves, and storms. Some people are floating so far out they can't even see the shore. Some are bobbing up and down, so that sometimes they see the shore and sometimes they don't. This stands for the people who are repeating Buddho, Buddho. Some people are floating closer to land, so that they can see the fish traps, the sailboats, and the green trees on shore. Some have struggled to swim closer to shore, but they still haven't made it to land. As for the Buddha, he's like a person standing on the shore, free from all the dangers of being at sea. He's seen the dangers that people are subject to, which is why he has the great compassion to want to help us get out of the sea and safely on land. This is why he teaches us to practice generosity, virtue, and meditation, for these are the things that will pull us safely onto shore. When we set our minds on practicing the Dhamma, we have to set our sights on the Dhamma's true aim. Don't go wandering off in other directions. You have to know which path is the wrong one, the dangerous one, and which one is the right one, the safe one. It's like steering a ship across the ocean. The captain has to watch for the signals of the lighthouse. Or you can make a comparison with driving a car. The traffic police have their red, yellow, and green lights as traffic signals at the major intersections. If, when the signal has its red light on, you don't stop, then if you keep on driving there's bound to be danger, and you're sure to get pulled over. If the green light is on but you don't go, that's wrong, too. This is why when you're driving you have to understand the signals so that you'll reach your destination safely. It's the same when you're traveling to the Dhamma. You have to know the Buddha's traffic signals. His red lights are his prohibitions, the things he doesn't allow. Anyone who lets his or her boat or car go through the red light will have to meet with danger. So while we're meditating here we have to make sure we don't go through the red light of our defilements. The Buddha compared our defilements to fire. The heat of our single sun can make the world as hot as it is. Think of how hot it would be if there were 5 or 6 suns. The defilements around each of our senses are like the heat of the sun. Kakudita, the eye is a mass of fire. Sodadita, the ear is a mass of flame. Gnadita, the nose is a mass of fire. Jivadit, the tongue is a mass of flame. Kyodito, the body is a mass of fire. Manodito, the heart is a mass of flame. Don't let these 6 masses of fire burn you. Normally the sensual desires arising around the eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind are red masses of flame burning away at the heart. If, while we're meditating, we stick our minds into these preoccupations, it's like taking a burning match and sticking it into some kerosene or gasoline. For this reason, while you're meditating, don't stick your mind into the affairs of your family, your home, your belongings, or absolutely anybody or anything at all. This is the Buddha's red light, where he tells you not to go. The other signal is the green light, the Dhamma being explained. When the light is green, that's a sign for you to go ahead. The green light here stands for the Dhamma you've already studied, as well as the Dhamma you're training yourself in right now. When the light is green, then whether we're fast or slow, we have to go. Don't just loiter around and block the way, or the police will arrest you. In other words, when the Dhamma arises by way of our eyes, ears, nose, tongue, body, and mind, we have to pursue that goodness. The Dhamma is what pushes or pulls us to goodness and peace. The green light is the Dhamma arising in a heart that's clean and pure. Right now, have our minds entered the quality of Buddha? This is an important point. We have to be observant to see whether the affairs of our minds are heading toward the green light or toward the red light. If we're not heading in the right direction, we have to turn ourselves around. It's like picking flowers, washing them, and then putting them in a vase. We have to make sure there aren't any worms or caterpillars eating away at them. Make the mind like a pure, blooming lotus in a vase. This qualifies as the quality of Buddha. Or think of it in another way, the mind is cool and refreshed like a lotus blooming in the middle of a pond. It's surrounded by nourishing water, cool and with an appealing scent. If you're sitting here in the meditation hall without any hindrances in the mind, it's like a lotus in the middle of a pond. This is also called the quality of Buddha. This is called the radiant mind, or in simpler terms, the quality of inner worth. When the mind is saturated in inner worth like this, it's happy and at ease. The Dhamma is a preoccupation that gives the mind a sense of rapture, fullness, and ease. When it arises, we're taught to develop it and cultivate it as much as possible. Keep the mind in this preoccupation until it attains a state of oneness, that's the Dhamma. Whatever is good in the heart, we try to raise that goodness to a higher and higher level. Keep evaluating it, focusing your mindfulness on it at all times, to see how the mind enters into the state of goodness. This is called developing a foundation of mindfulness. If you keep your mindfulness focused on a single path as when you think Buddha without sending your mind off on other paths, the mind grows deeper and deeper into a state of inner worth. Just as when we walk along a path on the ground, if we keep walking back and forth on the same path, it's bound to get worn smooth. The grasses and weeds will die away, and the path will get worn deeper into the ground, to the point where, when it rains, it becomes a water course, watering our crops, so that they grow abundant. We'll be able to sell them for a living and grow rich, freed from poverty. This is why this quality of merit or inner worth is called noble wealth. Things deep and refined tend to be high in quality. If the breath is refined, the mind refined, and mindfulness refined, then the brightness of our awareness will spread wider and wider, like the electric lights that spread their light throughout the capital. This is different from lantern light, which if we want to see all around us we have to carry and run around. When the mind is refined and the breath is refined, we'll be able to know the breath energies throughout the world. We'll see how things are going with all the elements. The heart will grow even broader, so that our foundation of mindfulness becomes the great frame of reference. The mind grows even deeper and cooler, more full and rapturous, blooming and at ease. When the mind matures in this way, you've got noble wealth. You're no longer poor. Coolness is like water. Wherever the ground has water there are bound to be fish, crabs, crayfish, and shellfish, grasses and vegetables, all of which can be converted to wealth. The Buddha saw the fullness of this mind state, which is why he told the monks, don't farm for a living. Don't get involved in receiving gold and silver. Focus on doing only one thing, be intent on really practicing the Dhamma, making your minds into the single, unified path, and then whatever you want, you'll be sure to get. This is because when the mind is full of virtue and Dhamma, you'll always have wealth. This is the power that comes from making your goodness deep like the Chao Phraya River, which is deeper and broader than any other river in Thailand. It's full of everything: boats, rafts, motor boats, steamboats, big boats, little boats, so that travel and commerce are convenient. In the river will be fish, in the fields will be rice, melons, cucumbers, corn, wheat. All of these things will be within you. You'll be wealthy in everything. If you don't give rise to goodness, then no matter what, you won't be wealthy. This is why the Buddha taught the monks, don't be farmers or merchants. And don't worry, you won't be poor. Simply build up a lot of goodness in your hearts, and all forms of wealth will come flowing your way on their own. But we don't really believe him. We believe our defilements instead, and so our minds keep sliding toward red masses of flame rather than to the clear mass of purity. This is why we're taught, Sukha Bhaitveta Pato, the wise person develops the clear Dhamma of purity. All I've mentioned so far deals with the qualities of the Buddha and Dhamma. The quality of the Sangha means making the mind go forward without sliding back. We keep putting our mind into good shape. For instance, when the eye sees something that isn't good, our mind is in good shape. The ear hears something that isn't good, yet our mind is in good shape. The nose smells an aroma that isn't good, the tongue tastes a flavor that isn't good, the body touches a tactile sensation that isn't good, yet our mind is still in good shape. This is called Supipano, practicing rightly. When we keep the mind straight on the right path, that's called Ujapipano, practicing straightforwardly. When we bring the mind to the level of insight meditation, attaining the transcendent, that's Yapipano, practicing for the sake of knowledge. As for Samsipipano, practicing masterfully, that means making our goodness even better and better. For example, when defilement arises in the heart, we have to use the Dhamma to pen it in. Defilement is like a rabid dog running around in misery. Whoever it sees, it runs right up to bite indiscriminately, until eventually it gets killed or falls down dead on its own. In the same way, when our defilements arise we have to pen them in quickly and keep them under our thumb. Don't bring them out to put them to use. Greed, anger, and delusion are intoxicants. When we're intoxicated, our minds are in the dark. When we're in the dark we stagger around, back and forth, dizzy and confused, not knowing what way to go, and as a result we never get to the destination we want. The Buddha's green light takes us to the clear light of the qualities of the Buddha, Dhamma, and Sangha. When we have these three gems and are sitting on the crystal throne of the seven forms of noble wealth, what suffering will we have? When we make our minds into Dhamma, the various defilements that lie fermenting in the heart will have to disappear. There will be nothing to spoil the heart. We'll be able to escape from the sea. Once we get on land we can have all kinds of fun, for there are a lot of things we never saw at sea. It's like when we come into the mouth of the Chao Phraya River, where there are marsh trees and fresh green plants. We become enchanted and keep walking further inland to Sukhumvit Road. There we see bicycles and trucks and jeeps and pretty automobiles of different colors. This gets us even more excited, and some of us get smitten with what we see on land. In other words, we fall for the visions and signs that come in meditation. For instance, we may begin to remember previous lifetimes. If we remember bad things, we become sad. If we remember good things, we get happy. This turns into craving, the desire to be this or that, and some people get really deluded, thinking they actually are the things they see. If our discernment isn't strong enough, then whatever we see will turn into the corruptions of insight, vipassanpakalisa, like people who get all excited the first time they see a car. They go running to the car, wanting to ride in it, wanting to drive it. But without looking right or left or stopping to take note of anything. They run right out into the middle of the road, get run over, and either die or break an arm or a leg. After all the trouble they went to in order to get out of the sea, they get deluded and put themselves in danger all over again. Like the example that happened a few days ago. An old monk came into the monastery, so some lay people asked him where he was from and whom he wanted to meet. He told them, "You all don't know a thing. Ajaan Lee used to be King Asoka, which is why he built Wat Asokaram. I'm King Pasenadi the Kosalan, his old friend. That's why I've come to visit him today." He had his student come in to inform me, and so I told the student, "Quick! Quick! Go back and tell him to go away. He's absolutely forbidden to come in here. Even this sort of thing can happen. This is called getting smitten with being on land, i.e. falling for the visions you see." That old monk probably had a few ideas of one sort or another arising in his mind, and so got carried away. If you start seeing things when your discernment isn't strong enough, it turns into a corruption of insight, as when a person gets excited at the sight of a car because he's never seen one before. He wants to ride in it, to drive it, so without looking left or right he goes running toward it, right into the middle of the road. And so he gets run over by a car and killed, or else crippled with a broken leg. This, too, is a kind of delusion, a danger. But if our discernment is strong enough, whatever we see will turn into noble treasures, Aryadana. If we see a forest of marsh grass, we can put them to use. We can cut them into firewood to use ourselves or sell in the market. If the land is a tangle of weeds, we can clear it and turn it into fields. If we don't let it lie fallow, it's sure to yield crops. Falling for visions is also called skewed perception. The right way to act when you see a vision is to remember to evaluate it and then let it go in line with its true nature. Don't latch onto what you see, because all things are inconstant. If you're born poor, you suffer from your desire to be rich. If you're born rich, you suffer in looking after your possessions, afraid that they'll wear out, afraid that you'll get cheated out of them, afraid that thieves will break in and steal them. There's nothing certain or dependable at all. The same holds true with visions. So whatever you see, you have to let it go in line with its nature. Leave the trees in the forest, the grass in the meadows, and the rice in the fields. If you can do this, you can be at your ease, because you know what it's like on land, what it's like in the water, when to get in and when to get out. Once you're skilled, you can travel on water or land, at ease in every way. You can go forward or back without any obstacles. This is called lokavid, knowing the world. You can stay with what you know, but you're not stuck on it. You can live in the ocean without drowning. You can live in the world without getting sunk in the world like a lotus leaf in the water doesn't seep into the leaf at all. Fabricated things belong to no one, have no one in charge. If you contemplate them and let go of them in line with their nature in the same way that you put down a knife, without holding onto it, the mind will reach an important point, the level of the radiant mind.